the African leader Europe doesn't want you to know about. Ibrahim Traoré's Road Revolution. When Captain Ibrahim Traoré seized power in Burkina Faso in 2022, few outside Africa paid attention. To many Western observers, it was just another coup in a troubled Sahel nation. But inside the country, something unusual was unfolding. A quiet revolution not fought with guns, but with bulldozers, gravel, and sweat. In less than 3 years, Burkina Faso, once ranked among the world's poorest nations, has embarked on one of the most ambitious road construction programs in its history. Traoré's government claims to have launched or rehabilitated nearly 5,000 kilometers of roads connecting remote rural communities to the nation's main trade arteries. For a landlocked country surrounded by insecurity, poor infrastructure, and economic isolation, this marks a bold statement. Burkina Faso is rebuilding itself, with or without the West. Traoré, a young military officer in his early 30s, came to power promising sovereignty, dignity, and development. While most international headlines focused on his rejection of French influence and his alliance with other Sahelian military leaders, the story that few talked about was unfolding on the ground. Quite literally. Across cities and dusty villages, hundreds of machines began tearing through the old, neglected roads. New highways, rural links, and drainage systems started appearing where there had been only mud and potholes for decades. At the heart of this effort is the Faso-Mebo initiative, meaning let's build our nation in the local Mure language. The program was launched in early 2023 as a national mission to transform the country's infrastructure and empower local industries. Instead of relying solely on expensive foreign contractors, Traoré's administration invested in local engineers, mechanics, and construction brigades. The government purchased over 900 pieces of heavy equipment, including graders, bulldozers, and excavators, to be distributed across the 13 regions of Burkina Faso. A central feature of the program is the innovative Dono construction method, a Japanese-inspired technique that uses locally available materials, soil mixed with laterite and compacted with simple tools, to create durable road beds at a fraction of the usual cost. This method allows communities to participate directly in road building, reducing expenses while creating jobs for thousands of young people. Within a single year, local reports claim that over 133 kilometers of rural roads were built without any foreign contracts. By 2025, official government statements suggested that the total number of rehabilitated and newly built roads exceeded 5,000 kilometers, stretching from Ouagadougou to Bobo-Dioulasso and linking agricultural zones with regional markets. For many Burkinabe citizens, these are not just roads, they are lifelines. Farmers who once took days to move produce to markets can now make the trip in hours. Children in rural villages are reaching schools more easily, and medical supplies are traveling faster to conflict-affected areas. Economists say the impact is significant. Improved road connectivity boosts local trade, lowers transportation costs, and enhances food security. Analysts at Today Africa and Business Ghana have noted that under Traoré's rule, domestic food production and internal trade have grown in tandem with these new infrastructure efforts. The broader goal is clear: to make Burkina Faso less dependent on foreign aid and imports, and more self-reliant through local productivity. Yet, this ambitious push has not come without challenges. The nation continues to face extremist attacks in several regions, making construction difficult and dangerous. Security forces must often escort engineers and construction teams. Budget constraints also limit how much the state can do at once. But despite these obstacles, progress has continued, slowly, steadily, and visibly. What makes Traoré's approach particularly striking is his rhetoric of sovereignty and self-determination. While Western nations debate the legitimacy of his rule, many Africans see him as a symbol of defiance, a leader who rejects dependency and encourages homegrown solutions. His speeches often emphasize dignity over donation, work over waiting. In one of his public addresses, Traoré said, "We must stop thinking that others will build Africa for us. We have everything we need right here." This message resonates across the continent, especially among young Africans frustrated by decades of broken promises from foreign powers and local elites alike. To them, Traoré's bulldozers are more than machines. They are symbols of a generation trying to take control of its own destiny. Critics in Europe, however, remain skeptical. Some see his policies as populist or unsustainable. Others argue that pushing out traditional partners like France could isolate Burkina Faso economically. But so far, the results on the ground tell a different story. Roads are being built, trade is increasing, and public morale is rising. Internationally, Burkina Faso's shift has inspired similar moves across the Sahel. Neighboring Niger and Mali, also led by military governments, have joined in calling for regional self-reliance. Together, they've formed what they call the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, pledging to cooperate on infrastructure, defense, and energy projects free from Western oversight. For Burkina Faso, this focus on roads represents more than asphalt and concrete. It is about restoring national pride and functionality after years of neglect. Each new kilometer built becomes a symbol of resistance. Resistance to underdevelopment, to dependence, and to the narrative that Africa cannot rise without Western intervention. Still, questions remain. How sustainable is this growth? Can the government maintain these roads over time amid budget shortages and ongoing security threats? Will local construction standards hold up against the region's harsh climate? Experts say the answers will depend on how much the state continues to invest in training, maintenance, and transparent management. But one thing is certain. Ibrahim Traoré has redefined what leadership can look like in a country often written off by the world. In the eyes of many Africans, he represents a break from the old order, a young soldier turned leader who builds instead of begging, and who uses development as a tool of independence rather than diplomacy. As the dust settles on Burkina Faso's newly paved roads, one can sense a quiet determination rising across the nation, the hum of engines, the clang of metal, the sweat of workers, all tell a story of a country trying to move forward, one road at a time. Perhaps that's why, beyond the politics and propaganda, this story matters. Because in a corner of West Africa once forgotten, a young leader is proving that progress doesn't always come from aid packages or international summits. Sometimes it begins with a shovel, a vision, and a will to build. And that is the road revolution Europe doesn't want you to know about.